work. And you've also said that the corporations that distribute it, they only want the money so they can create new content. But what you really haven't done is back that up with facts or examples. And I would really like you to do that to show that, for example, the big corporations are not just there for making money, or the actual small people are making money because of your work.
I was just a couple of years ago, I was in a university giving a college about copyright and so on, and in particular enforcement. And one of the guys asked me, like, well, do you get hot about pulling people out of their bed because they made copies? What is it that makes you tick? And basically, I am answering the question. Basically, the point is, many people work in that industry. In the Netherlands, 400,000 people work in
I'm asking you, what are you doing? Not general platitudes. What does your corporation do? How does it help the small people? Not in general terms, specifically. How is the content creator helped by what you do? How is it, and how does it, prevent abuse by big corporations? You're not answering the question.
Okay. We are enforcing copyright, basically by fighting large-scale infringement of copyright. That means that those who have those copyrights, large and small, can exploit their copyrights. That's what we do. Now, how you exploit them, that's your business.
Okay. Next question.
I have a small example. 5 years ago, I copy-edited an anthology of 20th century American poetry. Now, the 20th century, most of the poets that were in this volume are dead, and their copyrights are held by their heirs and successors, literary executors, and corporations. And many of these works, which ranged from 20 lines of poetry to 10 pages of poetry, they wanted egregious licenses. And the naive authors of these works agreed with their major publisher that the license fees would come out of their pockets, not out of the publisher's budget. And in 5 years, they still have not made on their royalties enough to pay back their licensing fees. For example, the Eliot estate, for a work that was about to leave copyright in less than a year, wanted a $20,000 royalty for an absolutely essential work of poetry that needed to be in this work. What do you think that license holder, that copyright owners should be able to charge any amount whatsoever to license their works, and that copyright should extend beyond the natural creator of the work to their heirs and successors and corporations for so long a period of time that scholars can't use this in an economical way?
Okay, before you address this issue, I think we need to collect the questions, comments from the line, and ask that nobody adds to the line. So these questions will all be raised, and you will then respond to those. And that should give us until 6, and then we can end this panel discussion. So thank you for your points. Each of the other 5 also? Okay. So why don't you raise your point concisely, you respond, all 3 of you, to these issues, and then...
Yeah, a question especially for Mr. Tim. In the beginning you said that copyright is basically good because I can decide, like choosing a Creative Commons license and the option that I don't like any commercial or profit use of my work. Why don't you accept the fact that copyrighted works are available like water everywhere, one time published, and say, okay, if it's just about people and private stuff and not about a company or the goal to raise money, we spare out to have all this, what your business is, and having all these conflicts and cases in law, and makes these kind of non-commercial use, but in a more public file sharing way, as the new balance of copyright.
Okay. Next one, please.
Yes. Well, I prefer new material. We live in a time that I work on a daily basis with people in the United States in milliseconds of time. And when something new comes out, I'll take, for example, Firefly, I would like to see that now. So here I am with my money, and there it is in the States, and if I want to order it or get it, I get limited. They say, no, there's no law for it, there's no distributor. Why can't I spend my money?
Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, this is a question for Mr. Tim Kuik. I see this opportunity to finally ask you a question whenever I'm reading about you in the paper. You're a private company, so that makes you not a law enforcer, but more a collection agent, right? Well, that's because you're a private company, I see you that way. Shouldn't it be, if an organization like this exists, shouldn't it be a governmental organization? So everybody who votes, can influence the company because you're a private company. And, well, add to that a question, how much, I think you know, of how many of the lawsuits you addressed, you threatened people by saying that you were going to sue them and that they had to pay up front. How many of these lawsuits did you win? It's a second question.
Okay, and the final observation from the floor? Yes, please.
I can't remember who it was, but one of you mentioned that you want a new and flexible copyright. When are we going to see a major studio release a work under the Creative Commons?
Okay, thanks. Now I'd like to ask you to take especially these 5 last people's comments, but also reflecting on what has been said during this hour to wrap up this panel. So, Arjen, why don't you start?
Okay. Well, let me just quickly respond then to the last question. I think we're already seeing, even with the major studios, that the financing model for making sort of large movie productions is moving away from the classical, we make it, then people somehow pay for it through movie tickets or DVDs, and then we make the money back. It's moving from that to things like product placement and merchandising and other things. So you're seeing that new revenue streams come in existence, and I could imagine that what is already happening with other things like, for instance, books, which are given away full text without DRM at the moment of publication, could also happen for movies where there's so much to watch on the planet that what somebody who makes a beautiful movie, which is financed by product placement, you can think of, for instance, the latest James Bond movies, actually just wants people to view them, because that's how you make your product placement back, if many people see it. And then it might become logical to just stick it on a Creative Commons license and say, hey, here you can download the full 8 gigabit Blu-ray glory of it. And that could certainly speed up the number of places. The one other point I would like to make, and this goes back to books, I think there is a big sort of, breakdown in thinking about the fact that in order to make money, you need the work to be copyrighted. And so 2 of my personal favorite authors, Charles Stross and Cory Doctorow, they provide most of their books full text without DRM to me at the date of publication, yet I still will buy the book. In fact, I'll buy the hardcover because I know they get paid more that way. And then I'll buy hardcovers to give away for friends. But I actually read it on an e-reader from text I downloaded. So in the whole process, nobody is actually forcing me in any way to give them money. Yet I do it. Why? Because I enjoy the hell out of the books and I want them to write another one.
Okay, thank you.
So they don't actually need copyright because I like their work. It's another model.
Okay. You've been very creative in terms of developing new business models. Tim, want to wrap up from your perspective?
Yeah, I agree with what you say, except for the last part, obviously.